and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jenny and I'm here today to wrap up my reading from 2021 and talk a little bit about what I'm hoping to read and produce for 2022. So 2021 was a challenging year for me in terms of finding time for reading. I was very much very busy, and the busyness was actually really great because it meant that I was working really hard on my art career in my spare time, and that left less time for reading. So overall, I'm still really happy with the fact that I read 76 books, and obviously that's a lot of books, and there are people who don't read half that many in a year and are proud of themselves, and they should be. So 76 books was what I read. That's over 23,000 pages, and I'm really pleased that I was able to get that much reading done despite having pretty much the busiest year of my life, and also dealing with all the other parts of my life, like being a mom and having a part-time job. I've made a list of my top reads of 2021 in the description box below, along with links to all the videos in which I spoke about those books. I just thought it would be a little bit easier to keep this video shorter and not go on and on about those books here. If you're interested, there are 6 books on that list, one of which is nonfiction, the rest are fiction. And I'm happy to chat with any of you about those books further if you're interested in hearing me talk about them more. But that's all I'm going to say about them at this stage. So I didn't go through and do a lot of stats on the videos I made this year because I didn't make a ton of videos this year. I think that's obvious based on the amount of time I've had. I've made as many videos as I could. It does make me sad that I can't make more videos, but that is just the reality of the time that I have at this point in my life. So I wanted to update you on what you can expect on the channel during 2022 in terms of book videos. I will probably make a separate video about my art videos, my studio videos, and things like that, so that if you're interested in hearing those goals for the channel, you can always tune into those videos later. The videos that that you've come to know on the channel, such as my monthly TBRs and my monthly wrap-ups, will continue as far as I know. I may be changing the format of how I present those because I've had a couple ideas, but we'll see. I will also be again participating in the BookTube prize, and I have linked the information about that down below if you'd like to learn more about it. I'm going to be a judge this year in the translated fiction category, which is very exciting. I also wanted to let everyone know and thank everyone so much for submitting questions for me for a Q&A. I was so touched by the thoughtfulness of the questions, and all of them were actually very poignant things that I felt were so, had so much depth to them that I want to make a dedicated video for each question. And so there's going to be 6 videos coming out in 2022 that will be covering those specific questions that were asked on that video a few months ago. I believe it was my 3 years on YouTube video. So I want to again thank you for those of you who submitted questions and submitting such thoughtful questions, and I'm going to be putting those into dedicated videos throughout the year to answer your lovely questions. I also wanted to say that I've been noticing, and I think this is just happening universally across YouTube, that whatever algorithms they have in place to try to control comments and keep inappropriate comments from appearing on videos have been deleting some of the comments that I've been getting on my videos. So unfortunately, for some of you, when you have written a comment, I get a notification to say that it's there, but then I can't find the comment later. So I apologize if your comment is one of those comments that has gotten deleted. I don't know why. I think they flag certain words or things like that. And it's very frustrating for me, especially as a small creator. I think, you know, I want all the comments I can get, and then they just decide to delete them. So I apologize for that if you have a comment that I didn't respond to, because I do respond to all comments that I get. Okay, so what kind of videos am I going to be making this year for my booktube side of my channel? I love doing 5-star predictions. I did in December wrap up my 5-star predictions for 2021, and I have created a new list, and spoiler, it's going to be all memoir this round for 2022. So I will be making a video very shortly talking about that TBR, and yeah, I'm always really enjoy those making them and reading them, and trying to predict what I'm gonna give 5 stars to. I also am going to be continuing my Bloomsbury Diaries series, and that's just kind of a sporadic series where I share about reading books related to the Bloomsbury group, Virginia Woolf, Vanessa Bell, all kinds of different people, hopefully maybe an E.M. Forster this year. So anyone who is considered part of the Bloomsbury group, I kind of put them all into that category of video. One of the things that I am definitely going to be focusing on this year is to make sure that each TBR I create each month has at least one book from my physical shelves on it. So I am a huge library user, and I have a huge to be read shelf on my library's online catalog, and I tend to go on there, you know, mid to end of each month to try to pick my coming up TBR, and sometimes I forget that I have a whole bunch of books on my bookshelf that need to be read as well. And during 2022, I purchased way more books than I really ever have before, and I still purchase books, not at a huge rate, definitely not, but I do have a lot of books that have been coming in that are kind of piling up on my shelf, and I'm not actually reading through them. So that is a goal. Each month there will be at least one book from my physical shelf that is included in my TBR. I put my 1970s project on hiatus, as you probably saw in the previous video about it, where I wrapped it up for 2021, and I am not going to be reading from that list in any sort of grouping this year. I may read one here or there, but I wanted to put that TBR on hold because I want to read more from my Paris and France TBR. It's just a TBR that brings me a lot of joy. I loved my time traveling in France, and when I read the books about France, it brings a lot of that back to me, and it's just a source of joy and comfort, and so I want to read more of those books this year. I also just keep adding lots of books to that TBR and not reading it down, so that's another goal that I have. I did do a lot of research into my artistic practice reading last year, and that is going to continue into this year. So you'll probably see, you know, a handful of books that are related more to research on my TBRs throughout the year. And I am finally going to be beginning my 5 Women Artists series, and I will make a dedicated video to talk all about what those will be. But essentially they're going to be artistry videos about and connection to books that I am reading about women artists. And I think that, you know, women artists are always kind of on the margins, and we need to share more information about them. And so this is going to be kind of my contribution to BookTube's wealth of knowledge, where people can actually, learn about the artist in the video, but also learn about books they can read to further their knowledge on that person. And with that, I think we have gone through all of my video goals for 2021. I have not changed my reading goals really at all for this year. Sorry, for 2022. I haven't really changed my reading goals at all. They are pretty much going to stay the same as they did last year. I've set my Goodreads reading challenge to 75 books again. If I go over that, then great. If I just make it and just squeak through as I did this year, then great too. It's really hard for me to predict things about my reading, and it is such an important and integral part of my life, but I'm not going to put a lot of extra pressure on what I'm reading. I feel like my breakdown of books is really quite good. I still read mostly fiction, but I think when I did the numbers, I was at about 60-40 in terms of nonfiction, and it may even be a bit higher because I did read more nonfiction this year than I have over the last couple of years. So yeah, I think that the numbers overall are good, and I don't really feel like I need to do that much adjusting. There's a lot of diversity in the authors that I read, and there's going to be even more this year because I'll be reading in the translated fiction category for the BookTube Prize. And the only thing I think I want to increase is my poetry numbers. I read 4 poetry collections last year, and I think I'd like to up that to at least 6, maybe 10 if I can, just because I think poetry is always a really, again, a comfort to me, and it kind of forces my brain to think in a different way, and so I kind of like that pressure on my brain to like not be so literal all the time, and to kind of go off into another way of thinking about everything. So that is my 2021 wrap up for reading. It has been a challenging year on so many levels for so many people, and I am glad that it's over, and I'm hoping that 2022 will bring us all a really great reading year, but also just a year with a bit less bumpy rides down the line. So happy New Year, and I will be back again soon with another video.